Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
What is going on? How you guys doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here for my review of this past Friday night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown review. The February, where am I at? May 30th, 2025 edition of SmackDown took place in Knoxville, Tennessee. We had, of course, an appearance from the Knoxville hometown native, Bianca Belair, who is still out due to injury. I thought she was coming back for real, but just making a little quick pit stop in her hometown. She's still away recovering from that finger injury she suffered at WrestleMania. Teasing maybe something, of course, with Naomi and Jade whenever she gets back. We'll talk about that for sure. And a bunch of other things we're going to talk about as well that happened on SmackDown this week. Before we proceed with the SmackDown review, I do want to mention, yes, I am recording this after finding out the news about R-Truth today. I will be addressing that in a separate video. So I will address that maybe tonight. We'll see if I get to that tonight or not. But I at least want to, of course, get the SmackDown review out of the way with. So we're going to get in right away and talk about it. We're a week away from Money in the Bank. SmackDown fill up their fields with the Money in the Bank matches. Surprise result for the men. The women, I basically notched my pick to win in the Money in the Bank match this week as well. No additional matches announced yet. As not, there's still only just 4 matches for Money in the Bank. I feel like they might add one more. I don't know what it would be, though, but we'll have to wait and see. And we will go from there. So, pretty good stuff on SmackDown. Nothing really we had a great ending promo. The only thing I didn't like was the stuff with Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green. That stuff just has to end. I'm sorry, it just has to. We'll get to that, of course, that momentarily. And a couple pieces of news, of course, to briefly address as well, as we are getting some NXT call-ups again happening. One will be this coming week on Raw, and one's supposed to be coming to SmackDown. It's been rumored, but it wasn't on the televised. Only one was basically announced official on television. And we'll get to that, though, when we do talk about the women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. So, the show opened up with Bianca Belair. Again, we're in Knoxville. She said she had to come in and sing a good old Rocky Top. And then she talks about how Knoxville is a safe place for her, and she always has the support. And then Naomi comes out. Says how she's glad to see Bianca, and Bianca's like, Naomi, now's not the time. But then Naomi's like, no, it's been too long, and she doesn't think about what happened, and she just wants to talk. Bianca says, what could possibly have to say that would change things? And then Naomi's like, I just want your forgiveness. And she just mentions everything and how, she even apparently went to Bianca's parents' house, found a photo album, and it just reminded her of the days when they were tag team champions. Bianca's like, look, we were friends at one point, but you betrayed that trust, you dug that hole. What you did to Jade will be nothing compared to what Bianca will do to her once she's cleared to wrestle again. Now, Naomi, and again, this is what's great about Naomi's heel character, especially the fact that she has a lot of acting experience and whatnot. She's really included that in this heel run. She was all emotional up until this point, say how she does want forgiveness and very convincing. But as soon as Bianca basically said, you made that bed, now lie in it, Naomi went to emotional to And she looks at Bianca and she said, "You know, Bianca, it wouldn't be good for you and your mama to be in a wheelchair. And she'd hate for something bad to happen to her right here and right now." Of course, obviously they're teasing a brawl, which obviously wasn't going to happen. But then Jade Cargill comes out. And Naomi just basically just takes it and just gets knocked down by Jade. And then she has a little bit of a tense stare down with Bianca Belair. Teasing that which again, I am still convinced that even though they've gone all in saying that it was Naomi who attacked Jade, I still believe that Bianca was involved some way, somehow. Telling a long-term story. When it's going to be revealed, probably sometime whenever Bianca gets cleared to wrestle again, who knows. But Jade kind of gave her that look like, I'm on to you. Basically knowing that something else is up. Something else she may know about. But that's for another day to talk about. Nia Jax then comes out and their triple threat match happens. This was okay, this match. It was a little sloppy though, I'm not gonna lie. A couple botched moments. I think Nia actually did land all her weight at one point on Jade, which did not look comfortable. But the good news is the right person won. Naomi. Naomi gets the victory with a crucifix pin on Nia Jax. She is currently my number one pick to win Money in the Bank for the women for sure. I think you gotta give it to Naomi. Because who's all in the match now? There's 5 people in the match. Naomi's my number one. Giulia, which honestly, that would be an okay pick for me to have Giulia win mid. Of course, they did kind of give it away later on when she basically told Zelina she's coming for her title. So I'm pretty sure Giulia's not winning it. Alexa Bliss doesn't really need it. By the way, the reason why I haven't done a face turn alert for Alexa Bliss is when she left in 2023 to go be a mom, she was a heel. It's because I'm just unclear what direction they're going with Alexa. Is she a face? Or is she going to be a heel and rejoin the Wyatt Six, even though the Wyatt Six are kind of positioned as faces? So I'm still confused on what dynamic they're doing with her, especially also as they're teasing her doing something with Charlotte Flair also. So I'm waiting on that one. But Roxanne, I would say Roxanne Perez would probably be my number 2 pick to win Money in the Bank right now. And my least wanted pick for sure is Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry, you can throw someone there like Rhea Ripley in there for the experience and for just for the star power. Rhea Ripley does not need to win the Money in the Bank contract. I'm sorry, she does not. The last spot is either going to be Liv Morgan, Ivy Nile, or Stephanie Vaquer. Yes, Stephanie Vaquer just dropped the title this past week to JC Jane on NXT. Controversial pick for her to drop the title to, but that's whatever. But yeah, and my pick to win that match is Stephanie Vaquer. And if she does win, I think she'd probably be, again, Naomi's my number 1 pick. I would go Naomi, then Roxanne probably my number 2, Stephanie my number 3, Giulia my number 4, Alexa Bliss 5, and Rhea 6. So that's the order how I would pick for the women's Money in the Bank. And also, apparently Jordynne Grace is supposed to get called up and go into SmackDown, which that'd be a good maneuver as well. Kind of stunned some of these short-lived NXT stars are going there, but it is the ones that didn't really need a super duper long-term experience. They're not WWE built projects. They're built from outside of them, so they didn't really need to be there that long. So that's fine. I'm just surprised they're definitely here as soon as they are. But Stephanie Vaquer, though, is actually going to be tag teaming with Lola Vice from NXT to take on, I forgot, 2 people from AAA in that Worlds Collide pay-per-view next Saturday. Also, by the way, it is official. As of last night, El Hijo del Vikingo did beat Alberto Del Rio. Thank God. And his match with Chad Gable is going to be for the AAA World title. So, cool with me. So we have that. And then we have a backstage with Sol Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and JC Mateo they ran into R-Truth, which this could be R-Truth's last segment on WWE television. But again, we'll talk about that when I do the video about the news about R-Truth today. Solo makes fun of Truth, but then Truth touches him and he gets mad. And JC Mateo steps up to him, and Truth asks if this is his son, and decides he's going to teach him a lesson in the ring, and he's going to go talk to Nick Aldis, which they have the match later, and JC Mateo absolutely squashed R-Truth, unfortunately. We also have, speaking of Nick Aldis, we have a backstage with Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervice. Chelsea is now wearing a mask because Zelina broke her nose in their botched Saturday Night Main Event match. And she basically is saying she wants another shot at Zelina because of what she did to her face. And Aldis says nobody's getting stripped. Well, actually, also, she asked for Naomi to get stripped of the title and then give it back to her. Which Nick said nobody's getting stripped, but Chelsea will get her rematch once she's cleared to wrestle. And then, of course, they threaten to do something about it themselves, which that leads to Alba Fire getting a match with Zelina Vega later on the show. And, of course, Zelina beat them. Why are we continuing this feud? I'm sorry, I get why they gave Zelina the Women's U.S. title, but it still felt like there was so much mileage left for Chelsea Green with that Women's U.S. title. She really sunk her teeth into a political gimmick and built the Secret Hervice that just added Alba Fire, don't forget. And then they just put it on Zelina Vega. And honestly, okay, if they want to do it for a thank you for all you do, Zelina, and then give it right back to Chelsea, fine. But even though, of course, there was the botched 619 at Saturday Night's Main Event, Zelina did win. So why are we continuing this? This is a feud that, it's doing nothing for anybody. It's honestly making the Secret Hervice look worse. Which I actually do like them as a group. But now that they're kind of, overdoing it, it's can we just end this? Please? But, yeah, Zelina did beat Alba Fire, and I just don't care about this one. I'm sorry, I don't. Tiffany Stratton, though, had a backstage segment and saying she's prepared for whoever's going to cash in on her because they'll be making a big mistake. Which Naomi rolls up and it's you ain't seen anything yet. She's going to win and cash in on her. But then Alexa Bliss rolls up and says, don't worry about Naomi. You should be worrying about me. And then that's when JC Mateo squashes R-Truth. I almost said Ron Simmons. Well, I'm getting used to calling R-Truth Ron again, but Anyways, but after the match when JC squashed Truth, Solo Sikoa comes in and they go to do a beatdown, but then Jimmy Uso makes the save with a steel chair in hands. Then the Street Profits have a segment where they say the tag team division's on fire, but don't forget who's in charge right now. Fraxium came out, and he says that they didn't get a fair shake last week, so if they're handing out tag title matches, they said, you guys know that we had you beat, and Axiom says, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but now they'll never know. And then Frazier says they should run it back. Motor City Machine Guns come out, and they basically says they entered their reasons for having a rematch, and that's because the Street Profits have never actually beaten them. DIY comes out. Candice LeRae speaks on behalf of the boys and says, does the talking, and says Motor City Machine Guns have had a million chances, and Fraxium just got here. And then Johnny says they brought in his wife because there's a conspiracy to hold them down. And Tommaso Ciampa then demands a moment of silence for, this conspiracy theory. And then the lights go out, and then the Wyatt Six come out, and they basically attack everybody. So, I don't know if this is going to be a fatal 5-way eventually for the tag titles, or if it's just going to be the Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits. I don't know. But things, of course, are crazy. Speaking of tag team matches, Javon Evans from NXT, he's going to be in a match with him, Rey Fenix, someone from Triple A, can't remember his name, and Ethan Page, who is now the new NXT North American champion. after he defeated Ricky Starks this week. There's rumors Ricky Saints, I used to call him that. And there's rumors they're calling up Ricky Saints as well. That one would have waited a little bit longer. Because I do think they could have put the NXT championship on him first. But whatever, I'm not going to complain. I love Ricky Saints. But anyways, yes, this is more so just to highlight their match for AAA. Javon Evans is not getting called up yet. He still has some work to do, but he's still great. They took on Los Garza, Angel Garza, and Alberto Carrillo. Great match, but Los Garza does win after Ethan Page causes some distraction on Javon Evans, and also Santos Escobar caused distraction too, and Los Garza got a rare victory. Good for them. Afterwards, we had a Wyatt 6 promo where Uncle Howdy laughs at the camera and says they won't stop until they get what is owed. Whatever that is, we'll find out down the line. It's definitely nice to see, though, the Wyatt 6 back for sure. Alba Fyre and Zelina Vega had their match again. Don't care. Zelina Vega won. Then backstage, Carmelo Hayes is getting ready for his qualifying match for Money in the Bank, and Miz insists that Carmelo Hayes goes by his plan. But then at first there's a little bit of tension there. Melo's like, he's like, I appreciate all you're doing, Miz, but he can do this on his own. And he gets ready for his match. But before we had that match, we had a promo from Giulia, basically just laying out her goals and groundwork, how she doesn't want to be just the best, she wants to be indisputable. And then she ran to Zelina backstage and said she's keeping an eye on her title. Which, like I said, probably going to mean that Zelina's probably dropping the title to Giulia. Only thing I don't like about that, again, it gives away that Giulia's probably not winning the women's Money in the Bank, unless that's a swerve. But that's my only gripe there. But yeah, Giulia, I'm cool with giving her the women's U.S. title. Then Damian Priest comes out. He first mentions that he's moving on from Drew McIntyre, who we all know is taking some time off also as well. And he did the concerto, put him in the past, and he says he wants to tell him that he still can't stand him, but he respects the guy who stepped into the steel cage with him. Drew McIntyre was the Drew of old, the warrior, and but then he says, what's next? He says, it's championships. And this war, of course, costs him an opportunity to be in Money in the Bank, but he does have his eyes on Jacob Fatu, who he respects, and he knows where he came from and what he's gone through, but he doesn't respect the crew that follows him. So he doesn't want to be a moniker. He wants to be a fact that Damian Priest will once again be El Campeon. So he's going after the U.S. title, which he probably won't win, unfortunately, because Jacob Fatu, I think, is going to hold on to it and feud with Sikoa for that, probably around SummerSlam. And on his way out, Jacob Fatu comes out for his match, and he has a stare down with Damian Priest. So we have the men's Money in the Bank qualifier, which is Jacob Fatu, Carmelo Hayes, and Andrade. Match was definitely better than the women's one. I definitely thought Carmelo Hayes was going to be winning this, if I'm being honest. But of course, first off, the shenanigans with Jacob Fatu happens. Solo tries to come out and help, but of course, things didn't go to plan. And Jimmy Uso then came out to take them all out. And Jacob, unfortunately, got accosted his shot by his own crew. And Andrade surprisingly sneaks away with the victory, hitting the message on Carmelo Hayes. Okay, I'm not opposed to Andrade being in a ladder match. I just thought that he was the least likeliest to win out of all three of these. Okay, give him a spotlight of Money in the Bank. I don't see him winning it, but I'll take it. So that makes it 5 of the 6 for the men. And the final match is going to be on Raw tomorrow. The final spot's either going to be CM Punk, AJ Styles, or El Grande Americano. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping it's going to be El Grande Americano, because I have that in my predicted match card, And honestly, if he wins, I kind of want to see him win it. That would be it, especially since Chad Gable didn't get it. But El Grande Americano, that could really elevate the character even more. I actually, even though I think right now my pick for the men would be Seth Rollins, but if El Grande Americano gets in that match, I'm probably going to be pulling for him. But, so yeah, there's that one. That will lay out the field. Solo, I don't want to give away too much, because I'll save the rest of my analysis for Money in the Bank, for my preview this week I'll be doing. Afterwards, of course, Jacob Fatu does throw a fit backstage to get upset and tell Solo for the last time he doesn't need his help, teasing again more tensions in the bloodline. LA Knight, though, has a promo backstage. Everybody's talking about punching their tickets and runs down the other men in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And this is his third shot in the match, and he's the veteran in the match, and he knows everybody's game. But then Aleister Black, though, rolls up and wishes him luck. Obviously, he's probably a little sore at LA Knight for stealing, because Aleister Black had the match won last week, but LA Knight kind of pushed him out of the way and took it instead. We'll see how if that leads to a feud or not between them, but we'll see. And then finally, the closing segment. Cody Rhodes and John Cena face to face for the first time since WrestleMania. So, Cody comes out, does his usual intro. He talks about how he went home at WrestleMania, drowned his sorrows, and he also reached out to a friend and asked him, was he a good champion? And the answer wasn't simple yes or no. It was that with everything he faced in the ring and behind the scenes, yes. He felt good, and that was a hopeful moment, and he started to think about this whole year, about when AJ Styles faked retirement on him, his friend sucker punching him in the side of his bus, Kevin Owens, his boss pushing him to the limit, the final boss asking him for his soul, and the entire world theorizing what he meant. The scary part was that he was 100% serious, and no matter how many times he says no, the offer is going to still stand for him to sell his soul to The Rock. Interesting that they mentioned that, but then again, at this point, anything involving Dwayne, I'm not going to believe until I see it, because of how back and forth things have been with it. So, that's how I feel with The Rock right now. It's like, he's awesome, but I don't know what to believe anymore with his involvement. I'm not sure what expectations to set with this, especially with how he just bowed out of after the Elimination Chamber segment. But, whatever. But then he gets to John Cena. He's all about John doing exactly what he said he was going to do, and that he forced him to make a choice, and he hesitated. That's right. He hesitated at WrestleMania to do things how John's been doing them. He doesn't know if Cena's going to ruin pro wrestling, but if he does, Cody feels like he's partially to blame. And if John's listening, he needs to know that he will never hesitate again. No matter how he touts how many few days he has left before he can leave with the title, that's not his expiration. His expiration is on the other side of Cody's come as, and it will burn his ass up. He's sorry it's his first night on SmackDown. He's getting a little bit worked up. He's thought so much about what he could do when he gets back. So how about a surprise? And he basically says he also brought over his partner for their match at Money in the Bank, Jey Uso. And before, though, Jey Uso comes out, the usual shtick, they even do the re-roll again to keep it rolling with the whole yeet thing. And before Jey gets to talk, John Cena comes out. And he says they are two of pro wrestling's biggest wannabes. John Cena wannabes, to be exact. They want to be him so bad, and it makes him sick. They neither will get his fame or his money because Cody is too desperate and Jay's lazy. There's one other being in WWE that can live up to that. And surprise, Logan Paul's here too. So Logan comes out. And John Cena says that Logan does WWE better than any other professional wrestler, which Sadly, that is true. He is better than a good portion of the roster. Whether you love him or hate him, that's true. Even though I can't stand him, Logan Paul for sure is definitely better than a lot of people on the roster. And he doesn't need to pay dues because he's paying your mortgage. And everyone in the building didn't come to see the baby faces. They came to see John Cena and Logan Paul. Logan says he could walk on water and we would just say he could swim. But John speaks the same language as him. Truth. He goes for the cheap heat of calling the crowd stupid Tennessee people and blah, 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 all that stuff. And he says there's one problem, and that he should be the world heavyweight champion. And he should have left Saturday's main event with that title. He says Jay got lucky, and he needed Cody to save him. Nobody believed 5 years ago that he'd be a superstar or team in with the greatest of all time, but here he is now, and they're going to win at Money in the Bank. And Jay says they can fight right now if you want. And then Cena and Logan get into a quiet little argument. Not sure what exactly it was. Showing maybe a little bit of, not quite good communication. But then, as that's going on, my favorite moment of the night. And no, it's not just the line. It's the reaction afterwards. So Cody Rhodes, being Cody Rhodes, liking to slip in his little nail-breaking line, like the LDS he told that The Rock had. Well, this time he says, what are you guys arguing about over there? Is Logan going to go back and polish John's Peacemaker? Referring to John's boys. And look, I'm not trying to be the immature idiot laughing about, those jokes, but what makes those funnier, like whenever Drew McIntyre came out, whenever Randy Orton and AJ Styles were arguing over whose move is bigger, and then Drew goes, my Claymore is bigger, and then Randy just corpses like, you did not just do that. Jey Uso, when Cody called it John's Peacemaker, Jay just slammed the mic down and just started chuckling. Like, you didn't just say that. The way that someone just corpses whenever that happens just makes it even better. Again, like, the line at times can be overdone, yes, but it's when the other wrestlers react to it, it's like, you did not just say that, man. It makes it even funnier. So that happens, and then that's when the brawl breaks out, and the baby faces send them packing, and they hit a combined 1D, the Usos finishing move, and then Cena regroups on the floor with Logan Paul, and the show goes off the air. So yeah, I don't know if Cena got that Peacemaker polished or not, but yeah, Jay Corpse, it was definitely the best part of that promo. But a great promo to end the show. And again, that's going to be an interesting match next Saturday for sure for this tag team match. That will probably main event the show. Definitely rather have that main event the show than the main event last year, the 6-man tag with Cody and company and the Bloodline. Yeah, that didn't need a main event last year, if I'm being honest. But yeah, so we'll talk about Cena also in a separate video, because I do, besides of course the R-Truth stuff, I do also want to talk about the backlash fans are giving WWE about John Cena's heel turn, and my honest opinion about it. And, well, my opinion as to where I stand about it, and my opinion as to why I think fans aren't happy about it. So, I'm hoping to get those two videos done. Well, the R-Truth one, maybe tonight. I got some things to do before I can do any more content tonight. And the John Cena one will probably be sometime this week. Or tonight, who the heck knows. But yeah, so that's my review of SmackDown. I gave the B. Again, we had some good stuff. Again, the only stuff I didn't really like was the stuff with Zelina, Vega, and the Secret Hervice. But that's my thoughts on the show, guys. I gave it a B. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown this past week? You guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, The Club of Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, The Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'll check it out. I'll catch y'all later and have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just the pain, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!